My child, someone sent your soulmate a private message about you that was never meant for your eyes, and what happened after they read it changed everything. The words inside that message carried a hidden truth that could expose a secret. Your soulmate saw something they never expected to see, and their reaction revealed a feeling they had been hiding for a long time. What looked like a simple message became the moment that uncovered the deepest emotions between two hearts. Listen carefully, because there is something you need to understand about the connection you share with someone special. Sometimes the universe allows a hidden conversation to appear at the exact moment when the truth needs to come out. There are feelings people hide behind silence, decisions they make without explaining, and emotions they protect because they are afraid of what might happen if the truth is revealed. Your soulmate may have been carrying thoughts about you that they never had the courage to say directly, and this private message forced them to face something they had been avoiding. Imagine a moment when your soulmate is looking at their phone, expecting an ordinary message, but instead they see a name they recognize. They open it without knowing that those few words are about to bring back memories, emotions, and questions they have been trying to ignore. The message is not just a collection of sentences, it is a reflection of something deeper that has been hidden between you and them. It reminds them of moments they shared with you, the promises they made, the feelings they tried to control, and the connection they could never completely walk away from. At first, your soulmate may feel confused. They may wonder why someone would send them this message now. They may question the timing, the intention, and the reason behind it. Because sometimes the truth arrives when people are least prepared for it. They might have been pretending that everything was normal, pretending that they had moved on from certain feelings, pretending that certain memories no longer mattered. But that message opened a door they thought was closed. The person who sent the message may have known something your soulmate never expected anyone else to know. They may have mentioned a detail about you, a memory, a situation, or something that revealed how deeply you affected your soulmate's life. It could have reminded them of the way you cared, the way you stayed when others left, or the way you understood them when nobody else did. Sometimes people only realize the value of something when someone else points it out. Your soulmate's reaction was not simple. They did not just read the message and forget about it. Something inside them shifted. They may have become quiet, they may have reread the words multiple times, and they may have started thinking about all the moments they spent with you. The message created a wave of emotions because deep down there was already something unfinished. There was a story that had not reached its final chapter. There are times when two people separate because of circumstances, misunderstandings, family pressure, fear, or the opinions of others. But distance does not always erase feelings. Sometimes people hide their emotions because admitting the truth feels too difficult. They choose silence because they believe silence is easier than explaining their heart. But a single message can break that silence. Your soulmate may have remembered the smallest things about you. The way you smiled when you were happy, the way you cared about people around you, the way you noticed things nobody else noticed. They may have remembered conversations that seemed ordinary at the time but became unforgettable later. The message reminded them that some connections are not easily replaced. The shocking part was not only what the message said. The shocking part was what it made your soulmate realize about themselves. They realized that even after everything, a part of their heart was still connected to you. They realized they had been carrying feelings they never fully accepted. They realized that the person they were trying to forget was the person they still thought about in quiet moments. Maybe someone told them something about you that changed their perspective. Maybe they discovered that you had been protecting them, supporting them, or caring about them from a distance. Maybe they learned that something they believed about you was never true. And when the truth finally reached them, it created a moment where they had to choose between continuing to hide or finally accepting what they felt. The message could have arrived during a time when your soulmate was already questioning their choices. They might have been thinking about the past, wondering if they made the right decisions, wondering what life would have been like if things had happened differently. Then suddenly, this message appeared, bringing back emotions they thought were gone. Sometimes the universe does not send answers in obvious ways. Sometimes answers arrive through unexpected people, unexpected conversations, and unexpected moments. A private message can reveal what years of silence could not reveal. It can show that behind someone's actions there were feelings they never expressed. Your soulmate may have felt regret. Not because everything was their mistake, but because they realized some moments cannot be repeated. They may have wished they had spoken more honestly, loved more openly, or protected the connection better. They may have realized that pride, fear, or outside influence created a distance that never needed to exist. But there was also something powerful in their reaction. They did not only feel sadness, they felt clarity. The message helped them understand what truly mattered. It reminded them that real connections are not built only during perfect moments. They are built during difficult times, during misunderstandings, and during moments when two people choose whether to fight for what they feel. Your soulmate may have looked at your name after reading that message and felt emotions they could not explain. They may have wondered if you still felt the same way. They may have questioned whether they still had a place in your life. They may have wanted to reach out but hesitated because they did not know how you would respond. The person who sent the message may not even realize the impact they created. They may have thought they were only sharing information, but they actually became the person who revealed a hidden truth. Sometimes a stranger, a friend, or someone from the past becomes the unexpected connection between two hearts. What makes this situation powerful is that your soulmate's reaction revealed more than words ever could. People can say they do not care, they can act distant, and they can pretend everything is finished. But their reaction in private moments often tells the real story. When nobody is watching, the heart reveals what the mind tries to hide. Your soulmate may have remembered the moment they first realized they cared about you. They may have remembered the conversations that made them feel understood. They may have remembered how your presence changed their mood, how your words gave them comfort, and how being around you felt different from anything else. The private message became a mirror. It showed them the truth they had been avoiding. It showed them that some feelings cannot disappear simply because people stop talking. It showed them that some bonds remain even when life creates distance. And the biggest surprise was that your soulmate was not shocked because of the person who sent the message. They were shocked because the message confirmed something they already felt inside. They realized that the connection they shared with you was more meaningful than they allowed themselves to believe. From that moment, they started seeing things differently. They began thinking about what they wanted, what they lost, and what they could still change. The message became a turning point, a moment where hidden emotions came into the light. Because sometimes one message can change the direction of two people's lives. Sometimes one truth can remove years of confusion. Sometimes one unexpected conversation can remind two hearts why they were connected in the first place. And maybe the reason this message reached your soulmate was not to create more distance, but to reveal what was always there beneath the silence. A feeling waiting to be understood, a truth waiting to be accepted, and a connection that was stronger than the fears that once stood between you. The moment after your soulmate finished reading that private message was the moment when everything inside them started changing. They looked at the screen again, trying to understand why those words affected them so deeply. They wanted to convince themselves that it was just a normal message, just another conversation, just another piece of information that would disappear with time. But somewhere inside, they knew this was different. Something about those words touched a place in their heart that they had been protecting for a long time. They started remembering things they had pushed away. They remembered the moments when you were there for them when nobody else noticed what they were going through. They remembered the times when you understood their silence without asking questions. They remembered the little things you did that seemed small in the moment but became unforgettable later. The message brought back memories they thought they had already buried. Your soulmate may have spent a long time trying to look strong. They may have acted like everything was fine, like they were completely okay with the distance between you. They may have shown the world one version of themselves while hiding another version that still wondered about you. But that private message reached the part of them that was still searching for answers. They started questioning everything. They questioned the decisions they made, the words they never said, and the moments when they allowed pride or fear to control their actions. They wondered if they should have fought harder, if they should have explained themselves better, and if they should have trusted the connection instead of listening to everyone else. The message may have included something they never expected to hear about you. Maybe they discovered that you were not the person they thought you were during the difficult moments. Maybe they learned that there was a reason behind your actions that they never knew. Maybe they realized that someone had misunderstood your intentions and created a story that was never the truth. That realization hit them deeply because sometimes the hardest thing is accepting that we judged someone without knowing the full story. Your soulmate began seeing the past from a different perspective. They started connecting the pieces they ignored before. Things that once seemed confusing suddenly started making sense. They may have gone through old conversations, looked at old pictures, or remembered old promises. Not because they were stuck in the past, but because the message reminded them that something meaningful existed between you. Something that was not easily replaced by time or distance. There was a moment when they wanted to reach out to you immediately. They wanted to ask questions, explain their feelings, and finally say the words they had kept inside. But then fear appeared. They wondered if you would understand them. They wondered if too much time had passed. They wondered if you had already moved forward without them. This is where the biggest internal battle began. Their heart wanted honesty, but their mind remembered the pain. Their heart wanted to reconnect, but their fear reminded them of everything that happened before. They were caught between what they felt and what they were afraid to admit. The person who sent the message unknowingly created a moment of truth. They opened a door that your soulmate had kept closed. Behind that door were emotions, memories, and feelings that had never completely disappeared. Your soulmate realized that avoiding the truth did not make the feelings disappear. It only made them stay hidden. They started thinking about what would happen if they lost the chance to tell you what was really in their heart. They realized that sometimes people regret the conversations they never had more than the mistakes they made. They realized that silence can protect people temporarily, but honesty can bring peace. Your soulmate also started noticing something important. They realized that the connection was not only about happy moments. It was about how both of you changed each other. It was about how you influenced their life in ways they never expected. It was about the lessons, the growth, and the emotions that remained even after difficult times. The message became a reminder that some people enter our lives and leave a permanent mark. Not every connection is meant to be forgotten. Some connections challenge us, teach us, and reveal parts of ourselves that we never knew existed. Your soulmate may have felt a mixture of emotions: surprise, regret, hope, and even fear. They were not only reacting to the message. They were reacting to the truth it revealed about their own heart. They realized that maybe the biggest secret was not about you. The biggest secret was how much they still cared. They may have started wondering if you were waiting for them, if you still remembered them, or if you had completely closed that chapter. They may have imagined a conversation between you two where everything finally came into the open. They may have imagined telling you the things they never had the courage to say. And somewhere deep inside, they started understanding that love is not always about perfect timing. Sometimes two people can care about each other but become separated by circumstances, misunderstandings, and choices. But when the truth appears, it gives them a chance to see what really matters. That private message was not just a message. It became the moment your soulmate could no longer ignore what their heart had been trying to tell them. It forced them to look beyond the past and think about the future. It reminded them that some feelings deserve to be acknowledged, not hidden. Because the most shocking part was not that someone sent them a message about you. The most shocking part was that after reading it, your soulmate realized they had never truly stopped caring about you. The days after that private message felt different for your soulmate because something inside them had changed. They were no longer looking at the past the same way. The message created a new understanding, and every memory connected to you started appearing in their mind with a different meaning. They began realizing that some moments they ignored before were actually the moments that showed how much you truly cared. The things they once considered ordinary started feeling important because now they understood the value behind them. Your soulmate started thinking about the time when everything between you felt natural, when conversations could continue for hours, when even silence between you felt comfortable. They remembered how they could be themselves around you without pretending. They remembered how you noticed their emotions even when they tried to hide them. These memories became stronger because the private message reminded them that what you shared was not something they could easily replace. But along with those memories came a difficult realization. They started understanding that maybe they allowed outside voices to influence their decisions. Maybe they listened to opinions from people who did not truly understand the bond between you. Maybe they believed assumptions instead of asking for the truth. And now, after seeing that message, they started wondering how different things could have been if they had trusted their own heart from the beginning. The message also made them realize something about you. They saw that behind your actions there was a deeper reason. They understood that some things you did were not for attention or appreciation, but because you genuinely cared. They saw the patience you had, the support you gave, and the effort you made even during moments when you felt unappreciated. That realization created an emotion they could not easily explain. Your soulmate may have looked back at the moments when they hurt you without realizing it. They remembered times when you wanted understanding but they gave distance. They remembered times when you needed honesty but they stayed quiet. They started feeling the weight of those moments because now they could see things from your side. But this realization was not only about regret. It was also about growth. The private message became a wake-up call. It showed your soulmate that avoiding emotions does not make them disappear. It showed them that running away from difficult conversations only creates more questions. They started understanding that if something truly matters, it deserves honesty and effort. There was a moment when they wanted to send you a message. They opened the conversation, looked at your name, and thought about what they should say. They wanted to explain everything they had been feeling. They wanted to tell you that the message changed the way they saw things. They wanted to admit that they had been carrying emotions they never expressed. But fear still existed. They worried about your reaction. They wondered if you would believe them. They wondered if you had already moved on from the pain and created a new life without them. They knew that reaching out meant opening a chapter they had tried to close. The person who sent the private message never knew how powerful their words would become. They thought they were only sharing information, but they actually triggered a moment of self-reflection. They made your soulmate face questions they had avoided for a long time. Questions about love, choices, timing, and the person they truly wanted beside them. Your soulmate started understanding that sometimes people lose valuable connections not because they stop caring, but because they become afraid. Fear of being hurt, fear of being rejected, fear of admitting they were wrong. But the message reminded them that fear can create distance, while courage can create healing. They began noticing that whenever your name appeared, their emotions changed. They realized that even after everything, there was still a reaction inside them. There was still curiosity, still care, still a feeling they could not completely ignore. The message did not create those feelings, it only revealed what was already there. The most surprising part was that your soulmate started seeing you differently. They no longer focused only on the problems or the difficult moments. They started seeing the complete story. They saw the good memories, the struggles, the lessons, and the connection that survived through everything. They realized that every relationship has moments of confusion, but the strongest bonds are often the ones where two people are willing to understand each other after the storm. They started thinking about whether the distance between you was truly the end or just a chapter before something deeper could be understood. That private message became the reason your soulmate stopped ignoring their feelings. It became the reason they started asking themselves what they really wanted. And deep inside, they knew one thing: the person mentioned in that message was someone who still had a special place in their heart. They started believing that maybe some people are not meant to be forgotten. Maybe some connections remain because they still have something important to teach, heal, or reveal. And as they continued thinking about you, they felt a truth becoming stronger than their fear. The message that was supposed to be private became the moment that exposed the emotions your soulmate had been hiding from everyone, even from themselves.